What's on your mind? Like, what is occupying your mind right now?
Yeah.
What is taking up way too much space in your brain? I
Just
mean, like the pop culture zeitgeist kind of thing.
okay, the pop culture zeitgeist
Uh-huh.
kind of thing. I'm really excited to go see F1 on Sunday.
Okay.
We're going to see F1 on Sunday. I've heard it's really good.
Are you a big, how can you not be a Brad Pitt fan?
I mean, it's Brad
Are we
Pitt.
recording?
It's Brad Pitt and race cars. Oh yeah, we've been rolling.
Oh,
It's Brad Pitt and fast cars. I
uh-huh.
mean, can it be bad?
It can't be bad. But do you know, have you heard of his new line of clothing?
No.
So I didn't realize that he is like part owner of this line of clothing. It's called something like, oh, I forget. But it's something kind of opulent.
Okay.
And so of course I looked it up and
Uh-huh.
like these are regular ass button down cashmere shirts for like at least $2,000. For men, I guess for all genders. But I'm like, do you like at what point are you like, you know what? You know what the high end market needs? More bullshit.
More $2,000 shirts. That's
You need some more $2,000
I didn't
shirts.
know he had a clothing line. I had no
I
idea.
had no idea either. I guess he doesn't. He's so baller. He doesn't even need to
He
advertise it.
doesn't. He
He just
doesn't.
casually mentions it.
It's like George Clooney with his, coffee commercials over in Italy or
Yeah.
whatever. Like it's like he doesn't do anything
I-
here in the US.
right.
It's just like over in Italy, he's a spokesperson for coffee machines.
Who cares?
Right.
It's just money.
Exactly.
It's just money and promotion. Well, Marnie,
Exactly.
I'm excited. I'm
I
excited to
know.
have you. I'm excited to be here in this beautiful studio.
It's pretty cool, right?
Have you seen it?
I've been here before.
Yes, and I'm excited to get into this with you. So, first of all, thank you for allowing us to record in this beautiful place.
Thank you.
But why I thought it would be so fun to have you on is when I'm working with people who are building their podcast, all they're asking is, how do I promote this? How do I grow the show? I'm working so hard trying to make sure I've got great content.
Yep.
And you having a marketing background,
Mhm.
I thought, what a better topic to talk about of like the new trends of
Yeah.
what is going on.
Awesome.
So, I'm curious, what are the trends that you see coming up now that people are starting to build on? And
Yeah.
what is like beyond the trend?
It's all about creating that engagement within your community, right? So using the meat out of your podcast episode to create other experiences for your community, expanding from promoting your podcast via, an audiogram or, a video clip from social media and taking that even further and building out assets that spark a conversation around a topic in your podcast.
So let's pause there, because when I'm thinking about promotion,
Yeah.
people are trying to figure out with limited potential resources, right?
Yeah.
Like they're kind of bootstrapping this podcast on their own. There are a lot of tools that kind of make it easy with AI
Sure.
to figure out what to do. But generally speaking, most people don't always engage in a reel. So let's say you have a 30-second clip from your show.
Yep.
They're not always leaving Instagram to go to the podcast app and to listen to it. So I'm wondering, because I heard two things. So one is like engagement,
Yep.
and the second thing is community. And
Yep.
that is like how you grow a show. Like you want a loyal listenership. So on one hand, I think about it as exposure, right?
Right.
Like I came from radio advertising, right?
Yep.
And so everything is about frequencies. So
Right.
even though they may not be leaving the platform to listen,
Right.
you want it a reminder that you exist and your podcast exists, and here's this interesting conversation.
Correct.
So how are we thinking about this that may not be the most advantageous when we're trying to just pump out content and just check the box that we've put it out there?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. That's a really good point. I think what you just said, getting someone to engage with a reel on social media from your podcast and then go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube and leave Instagram to do that, it's the hardest thing. You're not going to get someone to do that. It's just not what's done.
But I think it's good to know that that is the expectation.
Correct.
Right?
It is. It's nearly impossible to get someone to leave one platform, and go to another to listen to your show, watch your show, whatever. these platforms they're designed to keep you in the platform, right? Everything is they're specifically designed to keep you in the
You
platform.
sure you want to leave? You hear
Right,
Instagram?
exactly.
You sure you want to leave?
Exactly.
Sure you
So
want to go to this link?
right.
Is it safe?
Exactly. So you have to like format your content in that way, right? So when you're promoting, and you should promote your podcast across social platforms for sure, but know that you're not necessarily going to get them to leave. So if you're promoting your podcast on Instagram, what you want to do is start a conversation on Instagram with your community about the episode. You can tell them to go watch it, go check it out at your leisure. You know, you're giving them all this great information about it. But what you want them to do with that is not necessarily leave, but you want them to talk to you,
Yes.
right? So you use engagement prompts versus a call to action to go to watch.
Well, let's talk
right?
about engagement prompts.
Sure.
What are you finding that people respond to? Because there are people that may have smaller platforms where they have an audience, but they're just not responding.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like you put out a prompt and it's kind of
And it's
crickets.
crickets.
And then some
Is
people are
anyone
just
there?
and then some people it's like you could just put a little drop in the ocean and
Yeah.
it'll have ripples.
Yeah.
And so how do you get that engagement if you don't quite have an engaging platform yet?
It's tough. It's tough. So the way to do it is to be purposeful about the content that you're posting, right? So you're picking, if you've got a small audience and you're promoting, and let's use Instagram as an example. You've got a small Instagram following and you want to promote your podcast on Instagram. You've got some clips from your podcast that you want to put out. Think about what your Instagram audience, who your Instagram audience already is. Be purposeful about the content that you put there. So if your Instagram audience is mostly, Gen X women, right? You're going to pick a clip for Instagram and for that audience that those Gen X women can relate to, right? And then it has to be something that will hook them and they'll want to respond to. It needs to be a conversation they want to engage with. And if you've done that right and you use a simple engagement prompt over a simple engagement prompt like, what do you think? Or do you remember this? Or what do you remember from growing up in the 80s? Or whatever it is, you'll get them going. The other thing to do is to seed some initial comments yourself to start
What does that
to
look
move
like?
them. Be your first comment and use that first comment to start the conversation some more. Right? So think about when you're scrolling on Instagram. You're just scrolling and you come across
23
something.
hours a day.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. First thing when you wake up in the morning. You're just scrolling. If it's something I like, I'm going to the comments immediately. Because that's where the good stuff is, right? It's in the comments. That's where the conversation happens. That's where people are funniest.
That's true.
My
How
goodness,
are people so funny?
People are funny.
Why can't I be that quick?
People are so funny, and you get like the funniest stuff in the comments. If you're come across a video and there aren't any comments, you're not likely to go into it, right?
Yeah.
But if you see, okay, there's at least one or two in there, you're going to go in and look, right? If you've already been hooked by the video,
Right.
you're going to look to see what people are saying. So if you can at least start that conversation, post your own comment. You're going to have some P1s, some listeners that
P1?
tune in. Those are your key audience members.
Okay.
Those are the people that have been with you for a long time. They're the ones that, that engage with the podcast, that send you show suggestion ideas, that send you emails, that subscribe to your newsletters. You're going to get, some of that engagement, and you can kind of seed it too. I always like to say that if you listen to your P1s, your core audience, your core consumer, they're never going to steer you wrong. Ask them what they want to see more of from you as well. And that's another
Engagement
that's
prompt.
another
Yeah.
engagement. That's another way to engage with the community. Ask them for future episode ideas. Use the ideas they send you. Say, this came from a listener. Credit the listener that it came from,
Yeah.
right? Really work that community. And that's the way to promote your podcast on social media. The idea that you could just put a clip up and say, go watch it on YouTube or go listen to it on Spotify or whatever, it just doesn't happen. It's just not going to happen unless
It might happen organically later, but it's the reminder.
Correct.
It's like the reminder prompt.
it will happen organically later,
visibility.
right? As you
Yeah.
grow, it will happen. You'll get people who are waiting for your stuff to come out and will go and will follow those links that you put out in stories and go to another platform to watch your podcast. But to start out with, and when you've got a small audience and you're growing, you're using your social platforms to grow your audience, but you're not necessarily getting that audience driving to your podcast directly. Like it's not just enough to put it out there.
Yeah. And Marnie, you've got a long background in marketing. You have done some miraculous things for podcasters when it comes to marketing their show.
Yeah.
And part of that is like batch content.
Yes.
And where I think this could be helpful, because it can be exhausting at the thought of like not only putting this content out there and not getting the kind of results that you hope. You know, your enthusiasm for it
demoralizing.
is not met with the same enthusiasm in which it is given
Right.
in some cases.
Why doesn't everyone love this?
I know, but at the same time, it is kind of the thought about like going back through your content and finding that hook. You know, like there are hooks that are all over your shows, right? All over your shows. But sometimes it's hard to go back and find it. And so I'd love to understand a little more about using AI, you know, as you take your transcript, put it into AI. And, you know, there are some services that help you. I think for you, you are able to take like one clip and turn it into 8 different pieces of content.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty amazing what you do. But can you help the listener? Can you help that person listening who is like, how do I make this easier?
Yeah.
How do I go back through? Or if I have a team that's going to do it, that kind of gets away, I think, and understands the audience member.
Yep.
How do you train AI or a team or whatever to help find the right clips?
Yeah. It's a great question.
To build it.
Yeah. It is.
Make it easy for us, Marnie.
It's not easy. I wish I could make it easy, but it's not easy. But what it is it's time consuming and it's labor intensive and it can be a drag on podcasters. And I
think that's what gets people stuck and frustrated.
Exactly. And it's what makes them quit and
we don't want that.
And we don't want that. No. So to your point, there are AI tools out and there are more coming out on a daily basis, it seems like, that can help with this. So there are tools like Descript is one of them. Cast Magic is another one where you can take your podcast episode, you can upload it, and within that podcast episode, you can create these different custom prompts to pull out different things within your episode. So
what would be an example of a custom prompt?
So you can create a custom prompt that says, I want you to pull out the top 7 key takeaways in this episode. They should be engaging. They should resonate with my core audience, which is this.
Right.
You know, and you want to, these prompts can't just be, give me 7 things we talked about, right? You're like with anything with AI, the more that you put into it, the better the stuff that you get out of it. But you can put in these custom prompts like that. Give me the top 7 takeaways, right? So then you create a cute little Instagram story for your podcast episode that says, you know, this week we learned boom, 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 boom. There's your 7 takeaways, the link to the story. That's a great little Instagram story episode, right?
Yeah.
With some nice pictures, stills of your guest, whatnot, right? So quick little hits like that can be pulled out of an AI tool and easily create social assets for them. Another custom prompt idea could be, I want, go through the transcript and pull out 3 engaging quotes that speak to the overall subject of the episode. And if you know, because it's your episode, right? Gosh, this guest said something really amazing about this. You can work that into the prompt as well. So give it as much data as you can to pull the stuff out of it that you want pulled out.
So I'd love to talk about discoverability.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of areas. So one is like you can help on the back end to find these engaging things, but I think there's probably something that you have around strategy before you even hit record, whether it is video, whether it's audio.
Yeah.
What are people missing when it comes to strategy? I think, what many people will do is in the back of their mind, they're like, I just want to share my story so I can inspire people. But there is no real beginning, middle, and end other than let me just get it out there and hopefully it'll resonate. How do you guide people in terms of strategy of having those like holy shit moments of like, oh my God, we want the conversation starters.
Right.
How do you get them to do that?
So I think it's a couple things. Think about what your audience will want to know about that story, right? And then plan it out so that you're working those things into it. A great example, we just sat down and started talking, and you said, you're hearing this from clients.
Yeah.
Right? So you're asking me this. You've done it already. And out of that, hopefully, I say something, you say something here that you can pull out for that hook to hook them, right? For the episode. So when you're talking about discoverability, you want to answer the questions that your audience is asking. That's the juice. That's the sweet spot right there. Title your episodes and describe your episodes accordingly.
So let's talk about audio versus video, right? I work with a lot of podcasters and aspiring podcasters that say, Allison, everyone's telling me I need to be on video. Do I need to be video first, audio first? Do I do both of them? Do I repurpose it? What is the answer here? How do you guide people?
The answer is every podcaster needs a video strategy. That's the answer.
Tell me more. What if you
it
hate how you look?
Right. Well, it doesn't have to be like this, right? It doesn't have to be your podcast episode shot on video and a full interview like this. It can be if that's what you want it to be, and that's how a lot of podcasters are moving forward with it. But it can also be different, right? Meaning you could take your video and you could release a full audio episode, but you could take video and just release them in clips, right? You don't have to release a full episode video, but you've got to have some video element to your podcast. Additionally, like if you have a podcast that's not necessarily a personality focused podcast, but that's more like a story or a serial or, something like that, you can go to like a different type of video strategy that's more like B-roll and animation and more visual storytelling that way versus your face talking, right? But every podcast needs a video strategy.
Yeah, I think the video side of things is interesting because so many tools out there make it very easy. Descript, Riverside, There are a lot of cast
Yep.
magic. There are a lot of opportunities
Yep.
to easily go on video. But I also find that the ones that are on Riverside are kind of boring. It's the
Yeah.
same background all the time,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the same angle. You know, I always find for me when I'm sitting in my little studio that I'm either too close or too far or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, from the camera, like finding
Uh-huh.
the right aspect of it. There's that piece.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to marketing it and discoverability, there are some that if you do your video right and do YouTube right, you can blow up even more than if it is audio first.
100%.
It has
YouTube,
everything to do with packaging, doesn't it?
it does. Podcasters who have already gotten on board with a YouTube, setting up their YouTube channel, moving forward with the YouTube strategy are ahead of the curve for sure.
Uh-huh.
But if you haven't, it doesn't mean it's too late by any stretch of the imagination. Like, get on YouTube. The other thing that getting on YouTube is going to do for you from a podcasting standpoint and a discoverability standpoint is that it helps that it again, like you said, that video, that metadata being across platform.
So the
from
metadata is what? There's the
copywriting,
tags,
the tags,
the show notes, the title,
Yep,
and then more than anything, the thumbnail.
correct.
Those 4 things.
Yes.
So YouTube thumbnail,
Yep,
the show notes, the title, and the tags.
correct.
Is that tags?
Correct.
How do you find the right tags?
Are we talking about the tags in the back end when you upload, or are we talking about hashtags? Because those are two different things.
Are hashtags still viable on YouTube?
I mean, on YouTube, maybe a little bit. Instagram, no.
No. And not on LinkedIn
I also think hashtags are aesthetically ugly as well. Like,
Yeah.
I'm on board with the death of the hashtag. I'm just
on
going to say it
board
right
with
now.
it
I'm
too.
on board with the death of the hashtag.
Yeah.
Unless you have, like specialty hashtags that you want to use.
Yeah.
If you still want to use specialty hashtags, very niche hashtags
Yeah.
can still work for you and help you. But other than that,
But the
Don't
metadata
even
is
worry.
the
but
data
the
about
tags
the
and the
data.
metadata
Tags.
on YouTube, there is, when you upload to YouTube, there's an area where, you've got it's a 500 character limit, and it tells you to add all the tags in there.
500
And
characters.
you should use as much of those
Whoa.
500 characters as you can.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
What you want to do with those tags is describe your video, your niche.
What about your
and-
name and the show name?
Yep. So all of that. So think of those 500 characters of tags
Yeah.
in the YouTube backend as the way to explain to the YouTube algorithm what your video is about. It can't watch your video and decide what it's about. It reads structured data. So that's why those tags are very important. And that's why the copywriting within and using the proper SEO optimized copywriting is important, right? Because that's what tells the algorithm what your video is
And
about.
SEO is still a thing.
SEO is very much still a thing.
Okay.
It is very much still
What
a
are the
thing.
hottest trends in SEO? Tell me, Marnie. Tell me all about it. We're getting
So-
all of the juice here.
Yeah, no, SEO is still very much a thing. So a couple things about SEO specifically as it relates to podcasting. So SEO, for people who don't know, it's search engine optimization. At its core, people go in and search for stuff on it. That's why SEO is so critically important in YouTube. Not keyword stuffing, so that has been what SEO has become. People, picked up on the fact that you could kind of hack your way by just stuffing your descriptions, your show notes, your blog posts,
Yeah.
everything with a bunch of keywords, right? That's not what we do anymore. What we do is we structure our titles and our descriptions in our copywriting as questions that people are asking in language that human beings use. The algorithms have gotten, smart enough, I guess is the way to say it, where they know where you're hacking and just stuffing full of keywords, and that gets flagged as no good, right? So it's, again, phrasing your descriptions and your titles like how people are asking. So instead
Hmm.
of maybe this episode, right? Instead of calling it podcast marketing tips,
Yeah.
3 tips to grow your podcast today, right? So something
That's it.
that's more
Conversational.
engaging, that's
Right.
more gripping and more hooking than just
Who would
tips
have
to grow.
thought?
Right,
Yeah.
marketing tips
Yeah.
or podcast marketing tips or whatnot. You want to include a rich, 500, 600 word description, right? You want to include your timestamps.
Okay. So timestamps are important.
Timestamps are
Okay.
critical.
Now, sometimes if I use AI to help me, kind of build out the timestamps, they will give every single timestamp
Yeah.
where it's like obnoxious. And
Yeah.
I delete a lot of those.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing?
No, I mean, it not necessarily. No.
Because I want to just keep it tight.
Yeah, if you want to, you don't have to include all of them.
Yeah.
But you do want to include timestamps. One, because it breaks up your episode on YouTube and it can show how your consumers can jump around. 2, what it does overall is it tells your audience that you value their time.
Okay.
It tells your audience that it shows your audience that you're telling them where the juice is in the episode, so they can just go to what they want to go to and they don't have to watch the whole thing. And that's a benefit to them, which then is a benefit to you.
Yeah. I wonder about, does it affect or impact watch time if you're kind of jumping around?
Maybe, but are you going to get them to watch the whole thing anyways?
Yeah.
Do
well,
we
I'm
know
curious
that?
I'm curious about YouTube specifically. So it has historically been YouTube was king for younger males.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Women historically have been more audio because they can do it multitasking.
Right.
They can do it while running around doing their errands,
We
whatever.
love to multitask.
But I'm fine. Like my husband doesn't listen to podcasts, but he will watch one. He
Right.
will watch them
Right.
all the time. Like
Right.
he does it when he's cooking or like doing stuff around the house or
Right.
whatever. Is that changed? What are the trends?
I mean, definitely more people are going to video for
Yeah.
podcasts, for sure. I mean, you saw in the upfronts this year, which have historically been, for those who don't know,
What are the upfronts?
are they happen every year, May and June, and they're a big media event where all of the media companies preview what they've got coming up for the upcoming year, right? Historically, the upfronts have always been they've been around forever. They've always been very much broadcast TV focused, right? They talk about, what sporting events they've got coming up, what award shows they've got coming up, big, like tentpole events. This year at the upfronts, like center stage was podcasts. Amazon talked about podcasts. Netflix talked about podcasts.
Yes.
Everyone's talking about podcasts.
It is. We are in its infancy, which is crazy.
Yes. It is very much in its infancy.
Yeah.
Still.
20 years old.
Yeah.
There are 4.4 million podcasts out there.
Yeah.
But only less than 500,000 are active.
I know. Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason for having a conversation like this is because I don't want you to quit. I want you to have a really great show. And I think why people quit is because it's so easy to publish,
Yeah.
but it's not easy to keep it going unless you have a reason to keep going. And so part of that is like the strategic aspect of what you're talking about, Marnie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even making it easier on where else to put it, how
Right.
else you repurpose that content. So can you give some examples of some other ways or some
Yeah.
easy ways to repurpose the content?
Yeah.
So if it is, a minute clip or a 30-second clip,
Yeah.
how can we repurpose this and where are the trends going? And it depends on the show. Like some rule on Pinterest. Some grow their show on Pinterest.
100%.
I'm never on Pinterest.
Depends on the audience.
It depends on the audience. But
Right.
what are you seeing? I and you, this is proper grammar. Please start using it. But we typically serve business owners and personal brands and small to medium businesses,
Yep.
right? And in a lot of cases, personal brands there are a lot of opportunities to grow. How do you what are the mediums that you find work really well for growth and engagement
Yeah. So I think it
when repurposing content?
depends on the audience, I'm going to say, because the audience that you're speaking to is going to predict the platforms that you're publishing to, right? The number one mistake podcasters make, they leave too much meat on the bone.
Tell me more. What does that look like?
So they're not processing all of their content to the extent that they can be.
What does that mean?
So that means they'll put out a full episode.
Yeah.
They might cut an audiogram, a couple video clips.
This is me, by the way. I'm guilty.
No, this is very normal. This is almost everyone that's podcasting. And that's it. And they're moving on to their next episode. There is so much more that they could have taken from a content standpoint out of that episode. From one full-length podcast episode, you can create multiple 10-minute YouTube videos for your YouTube channel to help your YouTube channel grow. You can create 6 or 7 vertical shorts that can go across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. You can create an SEO optimized blog post out of your podcast episode, and you should, because that is going to help your podcast live longer.
And that's discoverability on your website.
From a discoverability standpoint.
That's what you own. That
is
real estate you own.
That is a like top tier pros do it podcasting tip.
Yep.
Turn your podcast episode into a blog post. It can be turned into a newsletter, like your emails. Like the other thing is you can take those vertical clips. You don't only have to post your vertical clips for your most recent episode. You could take them and repost them.
Yeah.
A month later.
Do you need
2
a
months
social
later,
media manager to kind of help you with that?
Depends on how much time you have to do it yourself and how good you are at social media.
I think part of it is identifying what role your podcast plays in your business.
Agree.
Right? And if the podcast, to grow it, does it make sense to access your back catalog and start promoting it?
Right.
And I wonder if it is kind of identifying what areas of your business require this kind of effort or engine behind it.
Right.
And there are services like working with you guys, like you do everything from soup to nuts. And I appreciate about what you guys do as part of Skutch Media, am I pronouncing it right? Skutch. I want to say Scooch, but it's Skutch. Skutch Media is you have this incredible studio, this kick-ass sound and video and all the production, but it also includes marketing strategy and the post-production piece of like having everything at your fingertips. Done like within 24 hours.
Yeah. Well,
and like
we can turn it pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. For the most part.
Right?
Yeah. So tell me about the kind of services that you offer.
Yeah. So we have
how you support people.
Yeah. We have our own studio here in Atlanta. So we have podcasters that come in here and shoot. Of course, we offer all-inclusive production packages for video podcasts. So every podcast shoot in this studio comes with a 3-camera, a beautiful cinematic look how good we look.
Look how gorgeous. Look how gorgeous.
Look at us.
Look at us.
A beautiful cinematic 3-camera shoot, professional audio, the actual studio lighting, not just a little ring light setup, it's the real deal. Full edit, file transfer, all of it kind of all in. We have a few different package levels. For full production, we offer pre-production. So we can do pre-production as well, help with guest planning, pre-production strategy calls to plan the episode outlines, etc. And then also post-production. So taking the edited episode and putting it through our sausage factory and processing that content for podcasters, even down to managing their social media too. We can take take your podcast from cradle to grave.
Wow. And you can do all the post-production too for people that are not in Atlanta.
Correct. We can do that. Yes, we can work with anyone, anywhere. We can handle post-production services for anyone.
And you guys do studio builds even remotely, don't you?
We do. So that's another thing we
amazing.
do. Yeah. So to what you were talking about earlier, when you were talking about video and how podcasters struggle with starting to get video off the ground. And especially if they're trying to go with a home setup and, you know, they're going to be using Riverside and whatnot. Like that's another thing that we can offer. We can do virtual consulting on their kind of home setups, but then we can also do full studio, like in home or in office studio builds.
Yeah, that's
We've
amazing.
done that for, we actually just did one recently for a client that's an educational company. And they have a monthly podcast and they just put a studio in their space and we built it out for them and it looks just like this.
It's pretty amazing that people are building out studios in their homes, in their offices, that it is such a critical piece of growth and impact and influence and the growth of it all.
It is. It's surprising how many people, not surprising, but it's funny to watch the explosion of people putting studios in their house. And I'm one that has one in my house.
Well, can we talk about Pete?
Yeah.
So you are one half of the Skutch Media team. So your background in marketing, and then Pete's background is all in sound and audio and Live Nation and radio.
Yeah. So he's a musician. And so he's always really been into, you know, audio gear and always understood, a lot about it. And just, he was that guy when he played in bands that wanted to be the one setting up all of the stuff. So he's just been a gearhead all along. So, you know, we both had, 25 plus year, corporate marketing careers and corporate media careers, and decided that, we needed to take a leap of faith and do something on our own. And so he he heads up all of the technical, he handles the hardware, all of the video and audio engineering, business development, kind of that area. And I am more of the strategy, production, writing, editing side of things. So we work, together as a team, and we have contractors that we work with as well that are vetted by us. So if you do work with us in any type of post-production capacity, we're not shipping your stuff to someone on Fiverr that we've never met.
Yeah.
It's being edited by, and processed by yours truly, or someone I actually sit with and know. Right. So I think that is another place where it's been a differentiator for us.
Huge. And I think even just the level of professionalism and how deeply you guys care about the end result.
Yeah.
As well as not just, thank you for your money, move on. This is like a growth plan.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a partnership for the people that you work with.
Oh, totally. Like we really do care about the end result. Like it reflects on us.
Well, so many people, because you had shared off camera, how many people come to you that have just been like shafted by, just kind of nickel and dime people that are, they put up the ring lights or, stuff's broken or just not delivered on time. Yeah.
We hear it every day. Like they don't get what they paid for. Yeah. They might not even get their stuff, period. They may just get ghosted. That's
frustrating.
Like it is frustrating.
Don't make us look bad.
No, it gives the industry a bad name.
Yeah.
Number one, and it again frustrates the podcasters and content creators out there who, now feel like they can't trust anyone to help them with this.
What are some questions that people need to ask when they are outsourcing and looking for somebody? Because it is very overwhelming.
Yeah.
When you're trying to find something reasonable, but get some quality products.
Yeah.
Or quality services rather.
Yeah. I think first and foremost, like, where is it going? Who's actually doing it? There are a lot of companies out there that do what we do, but they're shipping stuff off to faceless people that they've never met
Mhm.
around the world to manage, who don't know the client, don't know the client's business, haven't ever spoken to the client, haven't been briefed, by the client on what their objectives are for their content.
Is it important to have SOPs?
Yeah.
Like a standard operating procedure,
Yeah.
essentially like cataloging every single piece of what needs to be done,
Mhm.
and the deliverables before I just need it edited.
Right. Right.
Just handle it for
Right.
me.
Right. This is how I need it edited.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a really great point you bring up. So if you are working with a production partner and they're not asking you those questions, that's a big red flag.
Mm. So how do people work with you, Marnie? What's the
Whew.
best way to get in touch with you?
So you can go to our website. It is www.skutchmedia.com, skutchmedia.com. We're at Skutch Media on Instagram. You can find us there, hit us up. We like to say we're not in this business because we want to, be celebrities or even work with celebrities or, want to be around the glitz and the glamour that comes with this type of work. But we're in it because we know how powerful this tool is for
Yeah.
business owners. Like, we love showing them how powerful they can make it.
And I'll link all your info in the show notes. But one final question. What are you most excited about with the trends that are coming up for podcasting?
Ooh. I'm super excited about some of the some of the things that are coming up from like a live engagement type standpoint or interactive standpoint. If you're thinking about like live shopping opportunities within podcasts
Yeah.
or live polling opportunities within podcasts,
That is
stuff
so
like
cool.
that. Yeah, I
Are you
think that
seeing more streamers, like people that are streaming their
that
shows
too.
live?
That too.
Yeah.
That too. I think we're gonna continue to see a lot more of that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think even more so than a trend, what I'm excited about podcasting is I love the idea of this sort of reinvention of public access television,
Mm.
which is how I look at video podcasts now, and sort of the ability for the average person to have a video podcast. You can have your own TV show.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
It's like Wayne's World.
Think about, yes, it's exactly. Like, think about us growing up like in the 80s, right? Like, we would have would you ever have thought you had your own TV show?
Yeah, I would.
I mean, maybe you did. I mean, I went to journalism school. So
Yeah.
I went to school to do this, but I just never thought I would. Like, it still didn't occur to me that this would be accessible to the masses.
You know
right?
what's funny about that? When I was in college, I have a degree in broadcasting. And
Same.
my whole life, people have said, you need to be on TV. You need to be on TV. But I always felt better on the radio.
Uh-huh.
And when I was learning film and TV, we would do like news things.
Uh-huh.
I could not for the life of me do straight news. It had to be some ridiculous satire.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't do straight
Yeah.
news. So I never went into the journalism piece of it.
Right.
But
Right.
I wonder if I should have,
I mean,
I ask a lot of questions.
maybe.
But it is kind of fun to live out this fantasy
Right?
of almost like choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
That I can now position and pivot into video, and even having a studio like this. It's so different. I mean, you can have an incredible podcast interview over video, but it is so different to connect with somebody face
so
to
different.
face. And
That's
when you
why-
can do it, it's great. I mean, in some cases, it is impossible, depending on who you want
Right.
to interview.
Right.
But like being face to face, there is nothing like it.
Well, I agree. And I think you're starting to see more of that, right?
Yes.
There definitely
People are
is
getting in studios.
there is a trend moving towards studios because of that. There is an energetic exchange here that happens that you can't get over a call.
It is wild when you hear like Diary of a CEO, Tim Ferriss podcast. Lewis Howes has been doing the podcast in his studio for a long time, but Tim Ferriss forever. So Tim Ferriss is one of the biggest podcasts in the world, and he's one of the grandfathers of it. His
Right.
podcast's been around for like 14, 15 years. I
Yeah.
think podcasts like Rogan's been 15, 17, 20 years maybe. He
Yeah.
was like one of the godfathers of
Yep.
it. Tim Ferriss was one of those early adopters. And for the longest, he just had a really bare bones, basic audio. It sounded incredible, but he knew how much could get for video. Even
Right.
like Armchair Expert is now
Right.
doing videos, Smartless,
Right.
all of
Right.
these
Right.
big podcasts know that there's so much
They have to. They got to go to
so
video.
much opportunity there. But because it's accessible for us too, there is a lot of avenues. So I'm so glad to have you, Marnie Joseph. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been fun.
It has been fun.
Let's do it again.
All right.
All right.